Well, for more analysis on this, I'm joined in the studio by Wassim Nasr, France 24's terrorism expert. Thanks for joining us here in the studio today. Now, the big question now is how will this French withdrawal impact the jihadist insurgency in Mali?
Well, it'll have a big impact for sure, but we still have to know how it's going to evolve. Because when we know that ground forces are going to leave, but we don't know yet if French Air Force will still have access to Mali or not, at least to back the United Nations forces that are present there. But indeed, to leave a big space for jihadi movements to operate, either Al-Qaeda affiliated groups or the Islamic State affiliated groups, knowing that as we speak, those two groups are fighting each other in many regions, and especially in Tessit now, where many people were forced to leave their houses by an Al-Qaeda affiliate, to ending by getting killed by the ISIS affiliate, knowing that each affiliate accuses those Tuareg civilians of being on the side of the other. So the situation is very, very complex, and indeed a French departure will have military consequences. But it will take time, and one more time we have still to know how would it be like. Drones our drones will be allowed to keep operating in Mali or next to Mali, knowing that even though the French army is just on the other side of the border, either in Niger or still operating in Burkina Faso. A few days back, they communicated about a big operation, joint operation between the Burkina army and the French army. So France is leaving Mali, but it will still be in the Sahel region and very close to the Malian theater.
Okay, yes, the contours of that mission still to take shape. Well, let's just take a look back on this 9-year mission and explain how the situation has evolved. As you mentioned, what militant groups was France targeting 9 years ago, and are those groups still operating now?
Well, actually, when France entered the game or the war in 2013, it was to fight 4 separate jihadi groups that took over northern Mali back in 2012. So the French operation at the time, Serval, was a success because the jihadis were kicked out of main towns like Gao, Kidal, Tessalit, Tombouctou, for example. And in 2014, the operation was named Barkhane, and it evolved outside of Mali's border. But then jihadi groups went from the north of Mali to the center of Mali. And in 2017, to make it short, those 4 groups united under one banner, under the banner of Al-Qaeda. The group was headed by a Tuareg figure, a political figure, before being a jihadi figure, and he had a Fulani preacher with him, which gave Al-Qaeda further reach into the south. And in 2015, a splinter group vowed allegiance to the Islamic State, and it grew critically to the point of killing many Malian and Nigerian and Burkinabe military, which forced France in 2020 January to have a meeting in Po and to enhance its forces, special forces, in what we call the 3 border region. And as we talk today, we have those 2 groups working or active in this region, knowing that one of them, which is Jim Al-Qaeda, accepts to have talks with Bamako authorities, and the Islamic State doesn't want to. I had the opportunity to be in Nouakchott last week for a week in a conference, a peace conference, and on the margin of this conference, I got to speak to the Imam Diko, a Malian Imam, to one of the ministers, the Minister of Reconciliation, the Malian Minister of Reconciliation, the Malian Minister of Cult. And I got to understand, knowing there was many Sahelian and African figures there, that on the margin of this meeting, official meeting, there was an initiative to put talks on the table. So talks between Jnim, Al-Qaeda affiliate, and Bamako. Knowing that as we speak too, we have Bamako wants France out, the jihadis wants the French out, and the Russians want the French out. So all those have the same interest. So they could talk, at least to have a ceasefire and to say, look, the French are out, we are reaching some agreements. So it's an evolving story, and of course, France leaving Mali will have a political and a military impact.
All right, yes, lots to keep an eye on. Well, thank you, Wassim Nasr, France 24's terrorism expert, with me here in the studio.